Sarah Connor? I'll be back.
When we're re-watching James Cameron's The Terminator, we might not realize that it's a low-budget B-movie. In fact, this film by James Cameron has become a timeless classic. The Terminator is the best science thriller action film ever made, which still holds up to this day, when other films have faded into oblivion. The Terminator was created 39 years ago by James Cameron. When he was nobody, not many people knew him. After failing to complete his first film, Piranha 2, The Spawning, he made a script and sold it for $1 in order to get a chance to sit in the director's chair.
Wrong.
With intelligent science fiction logic underlying the story, through The Terminator, Cameron succeeded in presenting the horror and fear of the shadow of a large-scale threat that threatened humanity, when at that time the threat of nuclear war began to haunt everyone. James Cameron himself, reportedly, had the idea to make this film because he was inspired by a dream he had of being chased by a skeletal robot figure holding a knife. Cameron materializes the robot figure in his dream into a cybernetic avatar, a bloodthirsty cyborg, who appears with skin and body tissue, like a human. The Terminator tells the story of Sarah Connor, a woman who works as a waitress in Los Angeles. She suddenly finds herself being hunted by a human-looking killer robot, sent from the dystopian future of 2029, where robots and machines are almost completely in power. The only person capable of saving her is Kyle Reese, a resistance soldier from the human ranks. He was sent from the future to protect John, Sarah's unborn son, who would grow up to become the leader of the resistance against the machines in the future. In an attempt to run and hide from the pursuit of the killer cyborg, T-800, then a love affair arises between the two. The romance of Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor's relationship complements the narrative of the Terminator. At the beginning of the film, we are left with a question mark as to why the cyborg from the future randomly kills every woman named Sarah Connor. This mystery will be answered through Kyle Reese, a figure sent from the future as Sarah's savior. Kyle's presence also explains about the dystopian future. Kyle Reese's flashback scenes, or flash-forwards, technically, to his traumatic experience in a future war against machines, are even more tense than the entirety of Terminator Salvation, which fails to capitalize on the overall premise of a film set in a robot-ruled dystopian future. The Terminator catapulted Arnold Schwarzenegger's name, cementing him as the most popular Hollywood action star of the time. Schwarzenegger convincingly placed T-800, a killer cyborg from the future wrapped in layers of skin like a human, can bleed and sweat, but has no emotions and no pain, a perfect killing machine figure who brings terror and horror. This role is so attached to Arnie, that his character is considered the most iconic and impressive villain in the film. The role of cyborg killer T-800 is indeed very fitting to be played by Arnie. He doesn't need much dialogue, but is quiet enough and highlights his burly physique. He manages to present the horror of the film. One sentence he uttered in one of the scenes, "I'll be back." So distinctive and will always be remembered. Arnold Schwarzenegger's role is, indeed, main and iconic, but the pivot of the Terminator as Linda Hamilton, through her role as Sarah Connor. Sarah Connor's transformation journey as an ordinary woman who works as a waitress with a boring life, at the beginning of the film, to turning into a tough female figure who defeats a killing machine, is very selling. Hamilton described the transformation convincingly. What Sarah Connor said when destroying the T-800 robot with a hydraulic press was a great quote. "You're terminated." Her. The Terminator is like a mix of fiction, John Carpenter's Halloween, and Mad Max's dystopian landscape. James Cameron presents the Terminator with a touch of noir, featuring city destruction, useless cops, morally ambiguous, dirty motels, and the main one. The narrative reveals the actual fear of the rise of technology, all of which are traits of classic noir. The suspense in the Terminator probably wouldn't have worked without Stan Winston's amazing special effects support. The Winston effect is really amazing. How he makes the T-800 metal frame look alive, walking scary. And Winston realized that great effect when CGI technology didn't yet exist. The Terminator becomes even more impressive with the support of Brad Fiedel's score. Fiedel manages to illustrate the horror and suspense throughout the film, with music containing dark and ominous tones, as well as fast-paced songs played during action scenes. The Terminator is just that, a premise B-movie. But, with James Cameron's great vision, it becomes a science fiction action movie labeled a movie. Over 3 decades, this film has been able to hold up well into a classic film. The film is still fun to rewatch.